Hi, everybody. This is Prince of Queens, and I am with Deter. How do you say your name exactly?
Deter Lucam.
Deter Lucam. And we are just chatting. I'm actually testing something out. I'm going to start recording now. Oh, wait. It's not. It doesn't seem to even think it's working. Fuck. Hold on.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's live.
Well, no, we're live. I'm trying to record on my GarageBand. Um, because I'm going to be on somebody else's like radio type podcasty thing in about an hour. And I think he records it to SoundCloud. But I want a copy of it for myself in case he tries to pull some trickery on me and take me out of context or something, because that happens. So
Yeah, that's fair.
how do I go into GarageBand, preferences,
Wait,
probably.
is there any particular reason you're using this program? Because can't you just use OBS?
Um, OBS, is that a PC thing?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm on a Mac. So okay, would it be built-in microphone? And let me just I'm
Wait,
gonna
there's an OBS for Mac.
okay. Well, I don't have it.
It's free.
Well, I still don't have it. And I do have GarageBand, and GarageBand is super easy to use. And I think that it seems so. Wait, say something.
Hello.
Okay, so it doesn't. Here, I might have to do it like this. Okay, say something again. Wait.
Oh, your voice just changed. That's weird.
Yeah. No, I took out my headphones. Okay. So you seem to be louder if, but I can't hear you if my headphones are on. So, Jesus fuck. I am gonna need that because I will need the other guy.
You'll definitely need your headphones in, because otherwise you get feedback problems.
Okay, so talk again.
Hello, hello. Testing, testing.
So, okay, yeah, it does not seem to, how do I get it? Um, I'll try shifting the preferences again. So system setting, what is system setting? Maybe. Um, okay, talk again.
Testing, testing.
Wait, say again.
Testing, testing. 1, 2. Mic check, check.
Oh, it's working, I think. Okay, wait. Now give it 5 seconds and then talk again, okay?
Testing, testing.
Yes, it's working. Thank God. Okay, I'm gonna start actually recording, and we're just gonna talk for a little while, and then I'll see how it sounds later, because I'm getting a signal, and okay, thank God.
At some point, either me or Jeff has to just show you how to use OBS because it's just much better.
Okay, I'm sure it is. But I'm very stubborn about upgrading my technology.
I'm exactly the same way. OBS is just better.
Yeah, it's so weird because I'm one of those people that like I have been using technology my whole fucking life. Like my dad was actually a computer scientist, and I grew up with having a fat Mac computer and video games from a pretty early age, like when I was like 4 or 5, and but I always got I was always very comfortable, and then learning a new thing was never like exciting. It always seemed like a chore. um
Hmm.
and then it takes me about like a very short amount of time to actually like learn something new, and then I'm just completely used to it, and I forget that I even had to do it. But it's
No,
I'm
no.
so
There's the emotional hurdle of like pushing away the technology you're used to.
yeah. Yeah, and I even was like that a little bit with video games, because I didn't play video games. Are you a gamer?
Uh, sure.
Okay. I am a lifelong gamer. I like was really, really hardcore into video games when I was a little kid. All through college, really. You know, like starting with
Mhm.
the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 35.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I know I don't sound like it, but
No, I was trying to gauge like you're in college playing video games. How does that work? Do you just not play them for 10 years?
well, I was in. Okay, so I was in. I played them all through college, and then so I went to college for theater and like playwriting and other writing, but then in the theater department. So I was studying writing and theater type shit. But I was really, really into music and I DJ'd. And in senior or junior year, I started fooling around with music production software. And when I finished college, it was so funny. Like one of the things that I learned by the end of college was that I really didn't particularly care for theater people. So and then it
That's
was kind of
unfortunate.
yeah because it was like, you know, one of the only things that I really got a sense of by the time I was done. I mean, like I became a much better writer. I knew how to write a play. Like I knew how to write a full length play, and that's something that you can't really just teach yourself. It's good. You sort of have to have people act your shit out for you to even get a sense of like what it's like to really write a play. Um, but I so I'm glad I learned that, but then I also learned that the theater scene is full of bureaucracy and gatekeeping and egos and people that, you know, like the way to get your play produced is not by writing a really fucking good play. Oh no. No, no, no. That is the way to not get a play produced. The way to get a play produced is to be extremely hardworking and really good at convincing people that you like them, and also being an actor that's willing to be a director and an assistant director and to work in administration and to do every single type of role in theater so that you can climb your way up some fucking company, and eventually after 5 years hopefully you will get your own production of your own play that you wrote after you acted in and assistant directed and stage managed and did every other fucking thing for some other fucking person for a really long time. And those all the people that you would be working for are awful. They're all fucking awful people that are really annoying and really full of themselves and wish that they were like some mega star, and they're not. And so like there was just no
You,
way
you
I
do
was what?
you do realize that you're describing like every other industry.
Yeah. I think that that's definitely true for the vast majority of the art scenes that are out there. It's particularly bad with theater and dance, and you know, maybe the only other thing that might be as bad would be like sculpture or something, like things that are very non-practical. Because
Sculpture.
like
I didn't
there,
even know that. I thought like I only know a single sculptor, and he seems. I guess he's already established, and that's why he doesn't have any of these problems anymore.
mhm.
Because it didn't seem. It seemed like he's just like I'm just really good at sculpting, so people commission me for stuff.
Yeah. So, like, you know, back last decade, if I had studied film and I had like general, you know, if I had graduated from NYU in the film school, I could have started working professionally in New York City. And, you know, it would have been a way, way bigger um, industry of people that I would have found potentially more interesting and talented. But I was so steadfast to my principles that I had to fucking major in playwriting because I wanted to be really good at the writing part. And you don't really study that much writing if you go to film school. And so, you know,
Wait,
I
really? That
no,
seems
not
like
really.
that seems like an essential skill set.
Yeah, you do, but not really. You learn how to technically write a play, but certainly not good, not enough to get really good at it.
Oh, so it's not creative writing, it's
Yeah,
technical writing.
yeah, it's like you know,
Okay,
you take like a few script writing classes and they teach you like how to format it, and then they teach you how to write the first 15 minutes of your script. And this is what they will fucking tell you in a script writing class. They're like, if you want to get a fucking movie made in Hollywood, all you really got to do is know how to write a full-length script and then revise the first 15 minutes a lot. Make sure the first 15 minutes are good, and they will buy it based off of the first 15 minutes, and then they will change all of the rest anyway.
this is really depressing and not very surprising.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's actually a very large okay, so like this is what they tell you in script writing school. Theater writing is still a relatively pure industry. If you can get a play to be put on by a theater company, they are very, very unlikely to make any major changes to it. It's considered taboo. It's like not cool to do that. I think because of the fact that, you know, plays depend upon productions, and so it's sort of this, the play has a sort almost a life of its own because it can be produced multiple different times. And so if a playwright is living, you don't want to disrespect the playwright by like fucking changing their thing for another performance, right? But since screenwriting is the director is way more celebrated than the writer. The directors just change the fuck out of scripts, and they buy them anyway. So like, you know, if you write a screenplay, you can expect to make a good, you know, well over $50,000 off of it if it's good. But
like a full production movie could make like millions of dollars.
oh yeah, yeah, and you know, it depends on how much of a reputation you have. If you're like Quentin Tarantino or something, like, you know, people are going to buy his scripts for a whole fucking lot of money, even if he wrote it on a coke bender, which clearly he does. I mean, seriously, did you see Grindhouse?
Apparently not.
Oh, it's a really, really horrendously bad movie. I mean, it was kind of the point of it. But yeah, so it's a weird industry. And by the time I finished, like by the time I graduated, I was just like, these people are insufferable. Um, I don't like working in theater. I don't know if I have the industry understanding to work in film or television, and I certainly don't want to move to LA. I was living in New York City, so I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? I also like really, really, really like doing music, and I feel like there's this burning part of me that wants to do music. So I just started teaching myself electronic music production, but it was always just so agonizing to have to like learn new programs and everything. So that's why I started talking
And
about that. The end.
well,
How are you?
well, ladies and gentlemen, that was 12 minutes of Prince of Queens life history to come full circle.
So how are you doing? I'm going to mute myself for a second, but I will be totally hearing you.
I don't really. I'm actually actively surprised. I don't feel like I actually can talk as long as you can in one single monologue. But no, I'm doing fine. My history is like way different. Like I went full sciences, robotics, electronics. The only thing I didn't particularly take to was programming. So like all I really spend any free time I have doing is playing with 3D printers, which is pretty much what everyone on the internet knows me for at this point, even though I barely ever use them online. But yeah, that's why I thought it was kind of interesting, the bureaucracy of like engineering research, or I guess just research in the sciences.
Wait, you were saying
It's not dissimilar.
you work
But
with 3D printers?
yeah, man,
Oh,
it's in
that's
the
cool.
back. It's in the back of every one of my videos.
Oh, I don't know
That's
if
what
I. Okay,
that's what that
so
funny looking box is.
I've watched a few of your response videos. I have to say it's been a while. It doesn't. It's have you been uploading that much?
Yeah,
Oh God, you have been. See, I feel like
you got
a shipping.
you got to re-click those bells.
Well, yeah, you know, I should be better subscribed to your channel. You know, I mean, yeah, it's YouTube being a fuck because I just didn't know, and Man, my fucking analytics have been going down so hardcore over the past couple weeks. And I know that it's YouTube fucking with me because it's like I get 1,200 views and then like well over 200 likes. So it's like, okay, that's weird. That's like way more likes per.
Yeah, that like when I get around 200 or 300 likes, I'm in the like 3,000s when it comes to views.
Yeah, it's strange. So, okay, well, I will be checking out more of your channel because I've definitely like watched videos of yours and I always thought that you seemed cool. We've never I don't think we've never ever ended up in a hangout together. Maybe we did.
I think we did once, but we were like 2 of like 7.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
nice.
I think that was before I actually knew who you were.
Mm.
So like when I think I found out afterwards, like, wait a minute, I knew that guy. I knew recognized that voice.
Yeah, I haven't been streaming at all is the other thing. Like for the
No,
past.
neither have I. I really got to get back on it. Like I streamed yesterday, but that was the first time in like a month.
Yeah, yeah, I've been streaming over. I've streamed a few times over the past week, like probably like 3 or 4 times. Like not necessarily on my own channel, but um, I don't know. I think I think it got to this point where it was like we were all talking about sort of the same things with like feminists and SJWs, and then eventually Antifa, and then it
Hmm.
got really stressful. And like I've called this summer the summer of blood. Um,
Jesus.
because it kind of was, right? It was like every fucking weekend there was like some fucking shit. And
Well, the one thing I keep telling people, you have to keep this in context. Like we have the instant information age, so like it seems like there's a lot of bullshit happening all the time, but that's just because we can get news from every town and every city across the country.
yeah, well, yeah,
Well, I
but
mean,
like I
it's
don't know.
like the counter example I give is there's a website that lists all the Black Lives Matter protests, like all of them across the country,
Yeah, but
and it's
nobody.
like, but it's like 95% of them are never reported on because they're peaceful, run of the mill protests.
That's the exact thing. Like they're not. Nobody's contesting that Black Lives Matter. Like literally, like the closest thing they ever have to like anybody disputing them is somebody saying all lives matter, which is it was never as big of a deal as they made it out to be. Like, oh no, people say all lives matter. How dare they? And it's like, okay, first of all, rarely, like rarely are people like actually sitting there like all lives matter. Shut up, like.
It is kind of a really stupid comeback because it's just kind of like, did you expect that to be like the game changer, like the conversation end? I won. It's like it's such a benign comeback.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's like, but ultimately, like the Black Lives Matter protests, like they got away with basically anything they wanted to do. They could fucking they could block I-5 and it would be fine half the time. Like they wouldn't get arrested somehow, or maybe occasionally they would after they had been blocking it for like a long time. Um, so and then things ended up getting more like turning into riots and stuff as time went on. But there were years where it was like this totally state encouraged um government, like Democratic Party encouraged protests where it was like, oh hey people, do you want to act like you are fighting the system? Well, even the president supports this cause, and it was this very absurd kind of thing. Whereas now it's like this thing where there are like rivaling factions of people like full on fighting with like weapons and armor and shit. And it's like this
Yeah, and
very,
it has definitely, or at least seems like it's escalated.
yeah. So I don't
Well, at
know.
least, well, now it's the goals have changed. It hasn't. It seems like it's I forget the phrase. It's like the unheard people. Uh, like this is the voice of the unheard people. Violence is the voice of unheard people.
Oh, rioting is the voice of the unheard.
Yeah, something like, yeah, I think that's it.
I think that was
I
like
I could
it
I
was
could actually like I could actually see that if this is just a whole lot of people that just feel like they're not being heard and they're just frustrated and angry, and this is how they lash out.
Yeah,
Like
there's
that
definitely
happens.
there's definitely that. I mean the SJW mentality was that of complete and utter confidence, like that there were things that you just could not say, and if somebody said this, you could rally all of your friends and shout that person down and call them out and blah 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 blah, and you would never have to fucking think about how you would actually change that person's mind. You could just, overwhelm them with force and with numbers. And um all of a sudden there's all these people that are like, no, I don't even, okay, first of all, I don't necessarily agree with your gigantic list of rules that you have to follow, because there's so fucking many of them. Like, first of all, I don't agree with that. Second of all, I think you SJWs, you're the fucking racists. You're the fucking oppressive ones. You're the fucking, psycho communists. And they have no idea how to handle not just defiance. Like they thought that everybody was just gonna, like, eventually, like, the entire world was gonna all follow their rules. Like, that's what they thought. And now people aren't just not following the rules, but they're trying to exterminate the rules, and that terrifies them. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, I could see that. But that's like what I'm saying. It's like when you're angry, you're irrational,
Mm-hmm.
and there's large groups of people from various completely like parallel but different political backgrounds, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like no one gives a damn what any of them think, especially when the last election and that just blew up in everyone's face.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like when you have enough people that from different political backgrounds in very stressful situations, this is just what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I'm speaking in a series of cliches, I realize that, but I'm trying to get to like the basis of like it's very natural human behavior that's going on, and I'm trying to figure out how it's being channeled.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think that how old are you?
I'm 27. I
Okay.
had a birthday recently.
Oh, cool.
Hooray.
Well, you are heading up. I think you're in your Saturn's return now, if you believe in that kind of shit.
I don't.
Well, then I guess it cannot control you. Um, I um, I think that one of the things that happens when you are a young adult. So your first election was when Obama got elected, and
Yes.
did you vote for him?
I was a junior in high school. I don't remember. It was junior or sophomore. I didn't vote in that election because I just didn't know what voting exactly was yet.
You were in high school or college?
I was in high school when I was allowed to vote time. Wait, so that means I had to have been 18, so I had to have been a senior.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a senior. That's what happened.
Okay. So you didn't vote though.
But I didn't vote in the first election because I didn't feel it was appropriate. Because
Okay.
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, yeah. No, that probably makes sense. You sound like you're from the West Coast.
I'm from the East Coast.
Oh, you are?
So exactly wrong.
Okay, yeah. Where?
Just northeast, that region, to be as vague as possible to strangers on the internet.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Because I lived in New York City for 5 years for college, and I grew up in Seattle, and I've also lived in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, every SJW mecca besides like Portland, basically, which close enough,
Right. You see, I was like, oh, wow, you've been all over the place. I didn't make the assumption of, oh, you're just surrounded by the SJWs.
Well, that is true too. Oh my God, I haven't even once looked at the chat. I just realized I need to make sure that I'm not avoiding. People will not send me super chats if I don't look at them.
Well, you got a super chat,
Oh,
basically, so they would get your attention.
Yeah, see, everyone um gets annoyed with me not looking at my own chats.
You're so inattentive. I like stare at the chat when I'm doing live streams.
Yeah, I am really bad at looking at it. Well, it's because
Hey,
I
hey,
don't.
you guys in the chat, go subscribe to my channel for awesome live streams.
um, Jeff L. Bambino gave me $5 and said Psychotoxin is leaving. Um, is that the only thing I got, or was there another one?
That was it. That was it.
Okay, cool.
Amusingly enough, I actually have been monitoring your chat.
Well, thank you. A lot of people are a lot more apt to monitor my channel than I am. Like that happens half the time I'm streaming. I just feel like I should try to be as good of a conversationalist as I can, and that requires like not reading.
I completely understand. No, this is actually kind of amusing to me because for a while, like I listen to your videos on a fairly regular basis because you put them out so goddamn consistently. And well, I was curious one day. I was like, how does he possibly like plan and write or whatever all these things? But now actually talking to you, I'm thinking, oh, he just turns on a camera and starts talking.
No, that's not true. I actually
oh.
I script my videos.
God damn, do you just write 24/7?
I do not let's just say I have a lot of free time. I have very, very long been, I mean, because like, okay, so I graduated in 2004 and I went to the division I went to is the liberal arts division. It's kind of well known for potentially being maybe the most writing intensive undergraduate college in the nation. So
Right.
it's one of like every class in my college is 15 students or less, and even the classes that aren't supposed to be writing classes, which granted you're always supposed to be taking at least one writing class while you're there because that's just how the college is. It's kind of like for writers, but like even if you're only taking one writing class, you can very commonly expect in your other classes to have like 3 pages of writing a week for each of them. And so I've just been someone who really, 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 really writes a lot. And I write pretty quickly, and it's just a part of who I am at this point. So, like if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would be writing on Facebook and just writing really, really long status updates, which I did up until I was writing on YouTube. So yeah, it's just kind of how I am. And I do write a little bit on Facebook, at least enough to gather some material, and see what people are talking about. And yeah, it's kind of how I do it. I try to go on.
That's just amusing because I am the exact opposite.
You don't write a lot?
I can't stand writing. Like, the only times I write anything is when I'm like, I'm going to journal. I'm just going to write out what I'm thinking or something like that. Or if I have to make like a daily planner sort of stuff. Like, I can't sit still long enough, essentially. So, like, I have a Patreon goal of like $1,000 a month or something. And then I might script a video.
Yeah, okay, so like I have to force myself to write plays when I write plays because writing plays is a hard thing to do. It's just a very, very mentally exhausting thing to do to write. Writing a script of myself talking is like the easiest fucking thing in the universe for me. Like it's like I can do that in my sleep. But
I would hate doing that so much.
I don't know. It's just who. Okay, and it's not even like my writing college, but like I was doing that before college because I was on emailing lists, and I was really into the rave scene, and I was a DJ, and I knew all these people who were like older and interesting and smart, and the only way we would talk was over these emailing lists, and there's like 500 of us on this thing, and we would talk to each other, and so it was like instead of hanging out with friends after school, I would chat on emailing lists and then hang out with them on the weekends, you know? So I just got really used to.
No, it all makes sense to me. Like I'm the argumentative, like jackass kind of person that would like quite literally. I have friends in the city that will like I live near a city, and it's like, let me know when you find street preachers because I'd like to talk to them.
That's funny.
It's like I went to college in a city, so same thing. It would be quite literally. I would get a random text. It would be like, "Oh, got an intersection. I've got a job to do." I just like arguing about things. It's the best way for me to discuss particular subjects. It's kind of why it's amusing because like when I do live streams, it's me just actively reacting or something to something that I'm reading for everybody.
Do you what's the what was I gonna say? Oh, do you ever take that like the Myers-Briggs test?
Oh yeah. Wait, wasn't that discredited at some point? It doesn't matter.
I don't think that. I mean,
it's a personality test. You're not supposed to take it hyper literally.
Yeah, I ended up. I've taken it twice, and I end up being the arguer one.
I like. Apparently, this isn't one of the things, but I swear to God, I took this in like middle school, and I thought I got drill sergeant.
That's funny.
Apparently, that's not one of the categories now, but some personality thing I took a while ago, and the description was brilliant. It's like, you'll find yourself at the head of a group of people without actually understanding how you got there. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
Are you into Star Trek?
Nope. No. I'm not into Star Trek. I saw one of the Star Wars movies. I missed like apparently a huge thing that everyone else has already done.
Okay, well, you should. I mean, because if you're into science, you should watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. Not Voyager, not Deep Space Nine, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and don't expect it to get particularly good until the third season in, and then it starts to get really good. But
Yeah,
you would have to watch all of it.
Yeah, you gotta work on your selling. Because when you say I got to watch 3 seasons before I enjoy it, that's not a good sell.
Well, no, there are good episodes in the first season, but it's just, don't expect it to be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. It's just like, okay, this is a pretty good show. This is pretty cool. And then it gets to the third season and you're like, oh, this is awesome. This is so cool. This is my favorite thing ever. And it will be if you're into science. Yeah. Everybody I know, like, okay, so I come from a family of scientists, and a lot of my really good friends are scientists. So what I was going to say is, they have a Star Trek quiz where you get assigned a character from The Next Generation. The Next Generation is really the best one because in the plot of The Next Generation, in particular, that was the one that was the initial reboot, that happened in the early 90s or late 80s. And technology had progressed since the 60s when it was originally on, to the point where they had a basic foundation of like what technology would, what technological developments would very likely be like. And all they did in Star Trek: The Next Generation is just explore the galaxy and find new planets that had their own weird civilizations and new technologies, and had various conflicts with they would have wars with the Romulans, who are kind of like the evil aliens that are every bit as smart as humans, but they're evil. And then they would have wars with the Borg, which is like the cybernetically collective conscious.
I've been to the internet. I know what the Borg
is. Yeah. Everyone knows the Borg. So that's all they would do, is just this exploratory show, and everybody who is the crew of the Enterprise is the best at what they do. So you have Captain Picard, who's just this overall super good guy who's is very high achieving and very fair and a really cool guy. And then you have Worf, who's the security officer, and he's a Klingon, and he's very committed to honor and being self-sacrificing and blah blah blah. And then you have Geordi, who is Lamar Burton with the eye, the black guy with the eye thing that looks weird, and he's the engineer. And then they have like the counselor, the ship counselor, and she's an empath. She can read people's feelings, and she's very kind of like new agey therapist a little bit, but way cooler. So it's really fun to take quizzes of like who you are of that.
Nah, I can dig that. It's kind of funny because like I play a lot of survival type games like 7 Days to Die, Stranded Deep. Those are just the two that I've been playing recently.
What are those?
So, no, the reason I mentioned before that, the reason I mention is all I do in those games is just wander around aimlessly to see stuff.
Oh, what type of games are they? Like, are they on?
No, I forget what they're called. Well, they're PC, but
Oh, okay.
I forget what they call them, but it's like open world. I guess it's like open world sandbox. I guess that's what you would call them.
Okay. I want to look at footage of that.
7 Days to Die is like I played that so obsessively I had to uninstall it.
Huh.
I was wasting too much time.
Have you ever played Overwatch?
I play League of Legends, which is better.
Oh, is it?
Well, I have no idea. I've never played Overwatch.
But it is a similar concept. It's like I haven't played League of Legends, but I know what it is. You like have heroes and teams and shit, and you're fighting. So okay, I didn't monetize the stream to begin with, so it's not going to be demonetized.
7 Days to Die is just like you wake up in one of the various biomes, which is like plains or a desert or something, and you're given very basic equipment, and then just go and survive for as long as you possibly can. There's lots of zombies.
Oh god, it's kind of like fucking Minecraft.
It's like Minecraft with better graphics.
I was not into Minecraft. My fucking nephew was into it. He was more into it the year that I didn't have it, and then he came back to visit the next year, and he was a year older, and I had it, and he played it, but he wasn't really that into it anymore. So I was kind of glad because I didn't like it.
I got Minecraft when it cost euros.
Oh, you were into it then.
I was into it. But it was also one of those games, like 7 Days to Die, Stranded Deep, Minecraft. At one point, you beat the game. Basically, like your day is streamlined to such a degree that there's nothing left for you to explore. So all you really do is can build stuff. But I don't do that. Like I play these games to explore. So once I get to that end point, then all I'm doing is running around in circles for no reason.
Have you played Flower? I think it's a PS4 game only.
I don't have a PS4.
Oh my god. Well, so I have a PS4. That's what I do. Like I have a PC, but I don't have a monitor or a keyboard yet. And I will probably never play a lot of PC games because of the fact that I am not good at maintaining a computer. I'm a very messy person on both my computers and in my house, and I will never be good at making sure I don't have viruses. So if I'm going to be, making videos and stuff, I'm not going to be downloading a bunch of games or whatever. But there's some cool PS4 exclusives, and there's this one called Flower. I'll show you it because all it is sort of you fly, and you use the controller as if it's kinetic. So you point the entire controller down or up, and it controls how you fly. It's pretty cool. I'll show you it. Do you know Sister Danger?
No.
She was at VidCon. You might have met her. she and I are friends in real life, and
Well, you can ask her if she met me. Apparently, I'm pretty memorable.
um, here I can show you a picture of her here because she has a channel, and so she came over to play my PS4 because I wanted to show someone it, and I don't really have friends in real life at this current point in my life. Very deliberately, it was my choice because I live in an SJW city and I hate everyone. Um, Sister Danger. Um, there she is. Uh, this girl.
Maybe? I don't know. I met a lot
Well,
of people that week.
okay. Anyhow, so this is Flower. She came over and we had a few drinks and she would not stop playing it and she literally beat the whole fucking thing while she was over and I was kind of pissed because it was just like because it's one of those games where like once you beat it all the levels are unlocked and it doesn't go back to the way it was and you don't even know which level to start at.
Wait, do you seriously just fly around trying to find flowers?
Yeah, and then when you get them you unlock more stuff like the rocks open up and more flowers bloom. So you fly,
This is
and
so
every time you go by a flower, you get some petals from it. And so
it's
what?
so
She's going to go
simple,
through
but
it.
it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's fucking sweet. And the way that the controller is, it vibrates a whole bunch, and it makes these really like like cool noises. Here, I'll play the. Tell me if you can hear it.
Barely.
Well, the music is really good, and the things the it vibrates when you hit the
No,
thing.
I love haptic feedback.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, that's the next stage for video games.
yeah, it was really cool. It was just she describes herself as somebody that like okay, so she's really into like science fiction and fantasy type stuff in general. Like she likes to go to Renaissance fairs and she like is a professional fairy. Like she does little girls' birthday parties and shit.
Oh, okay.
Um, but she doesn't like most video games to play and she does like watching people play video games, she says. So like she'll watch someone play Skyrim but then she usually falls asleep after a little while, but she doesn't really like to play it. But this fucking game she was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever played. Oh my god, oh my god. And we
Well,
seriously like we played it for like
flower found its market.
yeah, well yeah I know. I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And then it made me think about like girls and gaming because like okay, it's not that girls don't like games. It's that there is a certain type of thing that is going to be more likely to be enjoyed by a sort of a more typical girly girl. And now granted she's not your typical girly girl, but she's definitely a girly girl, you know?
No, it's like everything else. It's a series of like overlapping bell curves.
Yeah, absolutely. And like so the thing about this there's a few things about this game. For one, it's very pretty. It has a lot of music, it has a lot of visuals and there's like the stimulation. And the other thing is that you can't die in this game. Like there's nothing that you can do that will kill you. And all you do is just go around and so there's like this added layer of you know non-stress. Like one of the first things she's like, I love this game. It's so chill. You're like, I don't have to
No,
fucking worry about anything, you know. And
no,
and that's another thing. It's
that
like,
makes sense. I
yeah,
mean,
it's like I think that most girls, when you think about the types of games that like little girls play, for example, it's usually things where it's like it's not necessarily super competitive. I mean, it's competitive in its own right, but it's like who can who can dress up in the prettiest outfit or who can make up the best story or something, you know.
I could see that. I haven't looked at like demographic data on games in forever, but I won't be surprised if there is just general trends,
Hmm.
and that's fine. That's kind of one of those things that I never understood why it ever became a big deal. It's like hey, just because there's different markets for different types of games for different types of people, that's not a problem.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think so.
Honestly, that sounds amazing for developers because they'll just be like, "Oh shit, that means these games I thought wouldn't hit a big market, there might actually be a market."
I think that there could be such more of a market for girly ass games, and they that if people got a little bit better at like coming up with things like the game that we were just looking at, that that um yeah, it would be a
It's changing priorities in games and just like honestly, I would do it the opposite. What I would want people to do is just come up with a concept for a game and just roll with it and let the demographics fall where they lay.
hmm.
Like I think it'd be a lot more difficult for us to go like, let's do market research on what the ladies like. That doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. It's too varied of a group of people. You would have to just like, instead of just going for the formulaic, I don't know, hero enters game, must achieve these objectives, don't die, like that sort of stuff. Like this flower game is interesting to me because that throws everything conventional video game structure out the window.
Mhm.
And I've seen other games that were similar. I don't remember what this game was called, but it was like it was just basically finding your way out of an area, but it's like the entire game was just darkness, and you had like a tiny lamp that you carried around,
Hmm.
and there was all these mechanics that were involved with it, and it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Huh.
I that it has different focus. So yeah, get more
I,
creative, game industry. That's what I'm saying.
I have a friend who when she was little, she used to play Zelda. But the only thing that she would do is go find the fairies. And it was like she actually
Whatever. Why not?
yeah. Wizard of Cause, Nick, he was saying his daughter, he let her play Skyrim, and as
Mhm.
soon as she figured out like how to play it, like all she did was hang out in a cottage and go like get wood and chop wood and like decorate the cottage.
All right.
Yeah, I thought
I
it was a
mean,
pretty cute story to hear about.
every time he brings his kid into the conversation, or she like runs in from the rest of the house, like everything stops and everyone's just like, "Oh, what you doing? Oh, oh, what's up?"
She came
That
one
kid's hilarious.
one time AJ was like AJ, who I don't know if she lives with him anymore, but she was at least living with him for a while. She did a live stream on her channel, and I was on it, and it was just me and Cognitive Thought, and I don't think Nick was home, and the kid Quinn was staying over, and she woke up and like kind of I think that she sort of snuck out of her room and was like sort of like hovering in the back because she like wanted to be on camera and say hi to people. And I was like, oh, do you like your dad's YouTube friends? And she's like, yeah. And then I realized, I was like, oh, if I was her, I would totally be fascinated by this,
Yeah,
like
it must seem really freaking weird. It's like, oh yeah, dad just goes in the room and yells at the computer all the time, and
yeah.
everyone seems to love it.
And apparently there's like 675 people on average that are like, which would be quite a big room of people to a little kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I always like it's like to the not YouTube people watching. Yeah, you start losing track of these big numbers. Like, yeah, I remember at a time it was like, holy shit, 15 people watched something I created on the internet. But now it's like, oh man, I gotta wait like 3 more hours for it to get up to 1,000. Ugh.
Yeah, it's it's weird the way it changes like that. And it's
That's 1,000 real people that decided to watch something of yours.
what's weird is that
That's
like
incredible.
when I think about like my biggest videos, so my biggest videos are my one that's like the 9 different types of SJWs, which was one of my early videos. It's
Isn't that like
not.
is that like 400,000 views?
It
Like it's
has about 105,000 views,
okay.
but still, that's like bigger than fucking Coachella. I think that's bigger than fucking Burning Man. Certainly bigger than Burning Man. I think bigger than Coachella. Like it's like a fucking to think about that, you know?
Oh,
Like
do you know what makes it even more trippy? If you go through your analytics, you'll just be like 30 people in India watched one of your videos. 200 people from Ireland. It's like people from all over the goddamn world. It's so mind-boggling sometimes.
sometimes I get these weird messages. Like I got this message that got put in the spam folder, and I didn't see it until months and months later, like at least 4 or 5 months
Mm.
later. And it was this really long message from some woman in Eastern Europe who doesn't speak English very well. And it was about how she hates feminism and why. And she went on and on about it. But it was cool. Like she seemed like she was cool. And I kind of wanted to talk to her. And I think I wrote her back. But, it was like YouTube messaging. So
Yeah.
it sucks. And like, I don't know. Like half the time when you respond to somebody from a YouTube message, they don't see it.
Oh,
And
I didn't even know I had YouTube messages for the longest time.
yeah, and so it's like you can send one, but like you don't know when you get a response, and it's just irritating in that way. Oh shit! You know what? I gotta go.
Oh, right.
Because
This is why we were doing this.
yeah, I just realized it's because it's 5 minutes away. Well, oh, it was cool to talk to you. When I
Yeah.
stream again, oh, we're supposed to do the book club. I'm thinking I'm gonna schedule for about a month from tomorrow. Because
Oh, all right.
it's it's going to be you, I, Sister Danger, and then my friend Space Pan, who is one of my friends and channels that I like. If you look at my next to my name, like the related channels, but the special bar, and then also Miss Misa.
Okay. That
So okay,
sounds fine.
cool. And yeah, and I like your idea of coming up with feminist stuff to read. Too. Like I want to take a look at. There's a book that Bell Hooks wrote, basically one of those fucking like um a feminist's guide to how to be a good man type books.
Oh, Lord in hell.
Yeah, and it's from the intersectional queen Bell Hooks. So I feel like that would be a good book to read to.
I really want to like critically analyze this sort of stuff because
Yeah, yeah,
we do a lot of laughing on the YouTube. So I'm curious what happens if we actually read it with like intensity.
yeah, it would be cool to rip it to shreds pretty well. But I that's what Sister Danger, she's good at, critically reading. She likes to read like law stuff. And Space Pan, he studied philosophy in college. He's really quite smart. You should watch his channel. And Miss Mita is in university in the UK right now.
All
So
right.
I think
This
all
will
of
be
us will
fun.
be pretty good little crew. Okay, great to talk to you. Talk to you later.
All right. Goodbye.